Senator Kaine, please.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. And General George, great to meet with you yesterday. I look forward to supporting your nomination. I'll add to the recruiting challenge. You could hardly send a worse message to people who are thinking about joining the military and maybe making a career out of it than is being sent right now with these military holds. One of my kids is a Marine officer, 8 years active, now a reservist. Like everybody else who joins an all-voluntary military, willing to risk their life for their country. But why would they sign up to serve knowing that a member of the United States Senate could block their professional advancement because they're disappointed with a policy that they had nothing to do with? And that's what's happening right now. 250 people, soon to be more than 600, who have volunteered to wear the uniform of the country and risk their life to defend the country, are being blocked from professional advancement because a member of this body is disappointed with a policy that these hundreds had nothing to do with. If you're disappointed with a policy in the military, especially if you're a member of this committee, you have an opportunity every year when we mark up a defense bill to try to convince your colleagues that the policy should be changed. I've been now through 11 NDAAs on this committee, and every year I introduce amendments and try to convince my colleagues that my position is right. And sometimes I prevail, but I often don't. And if I can't convince my colleagues I'm right, that's on me. But I don't take it out on hundreds of officers and their families whose lives are being put in limbo because I'm unhappy. This is, I associate myself with Senator King's points. This is hurting our defense. This is hurting our nation when we are in a very challenging global environment. And as we're talking about what we can do to try to make military service more attractive, it's sending exactly the wrong message to people that we are trying to encourage to join the military. General George, I think you were aware, we had a hearing earlier this year where Army experts came and talked about the recruiting challenge, and they listed the reasons that through some intense surveying why recruiting is tough. And the number one reason is I'm worrying that I'm putting my life on hold, that others will move ahead and I will not because I'll be in a situation where I can't advance. That was even a more powerful factor than I'm worrying about the risk of my life. People were able to accept that risk and still wanted to join, but the number one factor that people weren't joining is, gosh, I'm worried that if I join the military, I'm going to have to put my life on hold and I won't be able to advance like others. This body is sending a loud message that is being heard all over this country to people who have risen through the ranks, who have served, who have deployed multiple times, whose families have moved, who've sacrificed. We're sending a loud message to them that, wow, Kaine's mad about something that the Pentagon is doing, and he couldn't convince his colleagues that it was right. So what, I should just punish everybody who had nothing to do with it? I pray that we will turn from this dangerous path, because if one senator can do this, hey, all 100 will find something at the Pentagon that they're not wild about, and suddenly it's okay. Well, look, I'm not happy, and I couldn't convince my colleagues, but I at least can punish people who are blameless. I hope we'll turn from this. General, I want to ask you about the Radford Depot. My team and I recently went to the Radford Army ammunition plant. We heard about the challenges that they face competing for contracts. Radford's a strategic capability, critical component in our nation's mission to produce munitions, which is important and getting more important. Although cost is an important consideration in these items, we also need to preserve the viability of organic industrial base. I know you've spent time focusing upon the munitions production needs of the country. So how do you view the balance between choosing vendors with lowest cost bids while maintaining the ability to deliver readiness from our organic industrial base?
As you mentioned, Senator, Radford and several other depots out there are critically important, and it's an amazing workforce, having been to a bunch of them and what they do and just how patriotic they are in their mission. I think what we are looking at doing, and we have spent some of our own money to try to, we need to, inside the budget. We appreciate the support we've gotten from Congress. I think we got $1.6 billion last year to also invest in that. We do have to upgrade these depots. I think that it's important to do that and do it in a way where we can increase production. I can give one example of an ammunition plant where you can build the capability, you can keep the same size workforce, and then have the ability to expand production from there. And I think that's where we need to focus.
Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, Senator Kaine. Senator Ernst.